Okay, here's something to think about. What if I told you that stress isn't just in your head, like a fleeting emotion? What if it's literally redesigning your body
Hmm.
from the inside out? We're talking about everything from the fat around your midsection to the actual chemistry of your brain in ways you might never suspect. And get this, for a truly mind-bending fact, the fat around your belly, specifically, it has 4 times more receptors for the stress hormone cortisol than fat anywhere else in your body.
4 times. That's quite significant.
Right. So today, we're doing a deep dive into the science of stress. Not just how it feels, but what it's physically actually doing to you. By the end of this exploration, you'll uncover these hidden physiological connections between your daily pressures and your physical well-being. Things 99% of people are probably completely unaware of. You'll really grasp why stress isn't just a feeling. It's a powerful architect, literally altering your entire system. Okay, let's unpack this.
Absolutely. Our mission today is exactly that, to pull back the curtain on, well, the physiological machinery of stress. We've gathered some fascinating research really detailing how chronic stress affects, well, everything. Your metabolism, your gut health, even your brain's mood regulation and its ability to repair itself. We want to explore the why behind these pretty profound changes and what they fundamentally mean for your long-term health. Our sources really reveal this intricate, sometimes surprising dance between our psychological state and the physical architecture of our bodies.
Mhm.
We're aiming to help you gain that crucial knowledge, quickly but thoroughly.
Yeah, and we all know that feeling, don't we? That deadline just looming or the email inbox that never ends, maybe that traffic jam that makes your blood boil. Whether you're navigating Mumbai's famous rush hour chaos or LA's freeway gridlock, it's kind of universal.
Very relatable.
And in those moments, we often just think, okay, I just need to relax. But the truth is, your body, it's doing way more than just feeling stressed. What's truly astonishing and honestly maybe a little concerning is how these constant daily pressures are literally changing you.
Yeah.
Right down at the cellular level. And it creates this cycle that can be incredibly hard to break. And these changes, well, as we'll see, they start in places you might least expect.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's kick things off with something really personal. Something that's, frankly, a source of frustration for many people. How stress literally re-engineers your body's fat storage.
Yeah.
And even your muscle mass. It's definitely more complex than just calories in, calories out when cortisol gets involved.
It really is. The research is quite clear that chronic stress fundamentally changes fat distribution. It's like cortisol hijacks your metabolism. And what's fascinating here, as you mentioned, is that visceral fat, that's the deep fat around your internal organs, in your belly, it contains 4 times more cortisol receptors than the subcutaneous fat, the stuff just under your skin elsewhere.
4 times. Still trying to wrap my head around that.
Yeah. It means your midsection becomes this sort of preferential site for cortisol action. It effectively targets fat accumulation right there.
So that whole stress belly thing people talk about, it's not just anecdotal. It's a direct physical response driven by this hormone.
Precisely. It's a measurable physiological response.
But okay, beyond just where the fat ends up, how does cortisol affect what our body actually does with energy?
That's a crucial point. So beyond just targeting fat storage there, elevated cortisol actively breaks down muscle tissue. It does this through a process called muscle catabolism. Basically, it converts amino acids from your muscles into glucose. It's trying to create an emergency fuel source because the body thinks it's under threat.
So it's sacrificing muscle for quick energy.
Exactly. And this breakdown of muscle, well, it reduces your overall metabolic rate, which then, kind of ironically, makes fat storage easier. And there's more. Chronic cortisol exposure also impairs insulin sensitivity.
Okay, what does that mean practically?
It means your cells struggle to respond properly to insulin, the hormone that lets glucose into cells for energy. So the result, your body promotes even more fat storage while actively blocking the burning of existing fat. It's a double whammy.
Wow, that is a stark picture. It sounds like your body is prepping for a famine that isn't coming just because of, like, work emails.
That's a good way to put it. The programming is ancient.
But as profound as these metabolic shifts are, the impact doesn't just stop there, does it? What about the gut? You hear so much about the gut these days. Is stress attacking that too?
Oh, absolutely. It's a major target.
Okay, let's venture into that then.
Yeah.
The fascinating, maybe overlooked world of your gut. We've all felt butterflies when nervous, right? Or a gut feeling. But chronic stress, it seems to go way beyond that, literally changing the whole ecosystem inside you.
Definitely. This is where the gut-brain stress axis really comes into play. It's like a two-way highway between your digestive system and your brain, constantly communicating. And chronic stress triggers this cascade of digestive disruptions. For instance, research shows it drastically reduces beneficial bacteria. Think lactobacillus and bifidobacterium.
Good guys.
Exactly, the good guys. Crucial for a healthy gut lining immune function, the works. But stress reduces them, and simultaneously. It can increase pathogenic or harmful species by potentially up to 10,000-fold.
Wait, 10,000 times? That's not just an imbalance. That sounds like a complete internal takeover.
It's a massive, massive shift in your internal balance. It impacts digestion, nutrient absorption, your overall immunity. Everything gets thrown off.
Once again, your internal garden gets flooded with weeds and all the good plants just wither. So what are the consequences of that kind of chaos beyond just, tummy troubles?
Excellent question. That shift is critical because stress hormones don't just affect the microbes, they also damage the gut lining itself. This leads to what's often called intestinal permeability or
Leaky gut, right, I've heard that term.
right, leaky gut. It means the tight junctions between the cells in your intestinal wall loosen up. And this allows bacterial toxins, maybe undigested food particles, to actually enter your bloodstream where they shouldn't be.
Oh, wow.
And once they're in the bloodstream, they trigger widespread systemic inflammation throughout the entire body. Think joints, think brain, everywhere.
So it spreads way beyond the gut.
Absolutely. And furthermore, stress profoundly alters gut movement patterns. Motility. It does this through dysregulation of the autonomic nervous system, basically, messing with the automatic controls for digestion. This leads to common issues like alternating constipation and diarrhea. That unpredictable pattern many people experience. If we connect this to the bigger picture, we see how intimately gut health is tied to overall well-being. Stress just becomes like a wrecking ball for that delicate balance, influencing everything from mood to immune response.
That really is a hidden impact. And a pretty disturbing one, thinking about toxins leaking out. But the brain, the source of all these stress signals, they can't be immune to this, right?
Not at all. The brain is profoundly affected.
It seems like it's getting its own kind of chemical makeover, maybe making it even harder to cope.
That's a very accurate way to describe it.
Okay, so now let's tackle maybe the most direct and often the most distressing impact. What chronic stress does to your brain's chemical messengers, the neurotransmitters. This isn't just about feeling down or stressed out, is it? It's about fundamental, measurable changes to mood, motivation, mental clarity.
Precisely. We call this the neurotransmitter cascade, and it's a systemic disruption of brain chemistry. Let's start with serotonin. Research indicates chronic stress can slash serotonin synthesis by up to 40%.
40%?
40%. And serotonin is vital for mood regulation, feelings of well-being, healthy sleep. So its depletion directly impairs mood, often leading to symptoms we associate with anxiety and depression.
That's a huge drop. No wonder people feel so emotionally drained or just constantly low when they're under long-term stress. It's not just in their head, it's a chemical deficit.
Exactly. A real chemical deficit. And it's not just serotonin. Stress also depletes dopamine, especially in the brain's reward circuits. Dopamine is key for feeling pleasure, motivation, the drive to do things.
The get up and go chemical.
Kind of, yeah. So its reduction can lead to anhedonia. That's the inability to experience pleasure from activities you used to enjoy, and just a profound loss of motivation, feeling lethargic, uninspired. We also see stress reducing the activity of GABA. That's gamma-aminobutyric acid.
Okay, what does GABA do?
GABA is the brain's primary calming neurotransmitter. It's essential for reducing neuronal excitability, basically telling the brain cells to chill out. So its suppression leads to increased anxiety, restlessness, a state of hypervigilance, like you're constantly on edge, scanning for threats.
So it's like the brain's natural braking system gets weaker, leaving us kind of perpetually revved up and on edge. That sounds like a recipe for chronic anxiety.
It absolutely is. And to complete this picture, there's often an overflow of norepinephrine, another stress hormone and neurotransmitter. Too much norepinephrine creates hyperarousal, which leads to attention deficits, making it incredibly hard to focus or concentrate, and it heightens emotional reactivity. You might snap more easily, for example. This raises an important question. How much of our daily mental state, our ability to feel joy, to focus, or even just to be calm, is actually a direct reflection of our physiological stress response? These precise chemical shifts.
Yeah.
It's a powerful and often really overlooked connection.
So if you're out there feeling anxious, maybe unmotivated, struggling to focus, or just generally feeling off,
Yeah.
it might not be some kind of personal failing. It could literally be your brain chemistry being rewired by the pressures you're under.
That's a very real possibility.
And understanding this is key, because the real danger, the deeper issue, lies in how chronic stress doesn't just damage these systems, fat, gut, brain, and isolation. It actually creates a self-perpetuating cycle. It turns your body against itself. And here's where it gets really interesting. We've seen how stress impacts fat storage, how it messes with your gut, how it rewires brain chemistry. But the ultimate insight, maybe the true deeper value here, is understanding how chronic stress doesn't just damage these systems once. It creates this vicious, self-perpetuating cycle. It essentially turns your body's own survival mechanisms against its long-term health and thriving.
This is exactly what we refer to as the HPA axis dysfunction spiral, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. And understanding it is critical for grasping chronic stress. So the initial stress response, totally normal, healthy, even starts in the hypothalamus, part of your brain.
Yeah.
It releases CRH.
Corticotropin-releasing hormone.
Right, which then tells the pituitary to signal the adrenal glands, which sit on top of your kidneys, to produce cortisol. Now, cortisol is meant to be a short-term hero, mobilize energy, suppress non-essential functions during a crisis. The problem kicks in with prolonged cortisol exposure that damages critical receptors in another brain area, the hippocampus.
And what do those hippocampal receptors do?
They're crucial. They detect cortisol levels and send signals back up the chain to shut down the stress response. They're the off switch.
So if those receptors get damaged by too much cortisol, it's like the off switch breaks. The alarm just keeps ringing and ringing even after the threat is gone.
Precisely that. The negative feedback loop is broken. And this persistent, elevated cortisol then triggers the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines. Things like interleukin-1, interleukin-6, TNF-alpha. These are key immune messengers that signal and drive inflammation, widespread inflammation throughout the entire body.
Okay, so the stress response stays on, pumping out cortisol, which then causes inflammation everywhere.
Yes, and this inflammation isn't just a side effect, like feeling sore. It actively blocks the production of something called BDNF in the brain, brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
BDNF, why is that important?
BDNF is absolutely vital for neuroplasticity. That's your brain's ability to repair itself, to form new connections, to adapt, to learn. So essentially, the persistent inflammation caused by the chronic stress response prevents your brain from healing itself.
Wow, that sounds like a devastating double whammy. The stress causes inflammation, and then the inflammation stops the brain from fixing the damage caused by the stress.
It is. It's a vicious feedback loop that just keeps making things worse.
Making it harder and harder to cope.
Exactly. And this leads directly to neuroplasticity impairment and cognitive decline over time. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for executive functions like decision-making and emotional regulation, gets damaged by the chronic stress and inflammation. It loses its ability to effectively manage emotional responses. So you get trapped in this cycle where future stress responses become even harder to handle, leading to impaired judgment, more emotional dysregulation. What stands out here is how our body, in its attempt to protect us with these ancient survival tools, inadvertently creates this state of chronic vulnerability.
It's trying to help, but ends up hurting in the long run.
Precisely. And this whole process, this cumulative wear and tear from repeated stress responses hitting the system over and over, is best understood through the concept of allostatic load.
Allostatic load. Okay, tell us more about that. It sounds important.
It is. Think of it as the burden, the hidden bonus insight here. It's not just about one stressful event. It's the ongoing, relentless toll that fundamentally rewires both your brain and your body systems. It shifts them from operating in a mode of thriving growth, repair, optimal function, to one of survival. It's getting through the perceived crisis.
So that concept, allostatic load, can you maybe help us visualize what that cumulative damage actually looks like over years, not just days? What does it really mean to be rewired for survival instead of thriving?
Yeah, imagine it like this. Every time you face a stressor, your body system's heart rate goes up, blood pressure, metabolism changes, immune system adjusts. They rev up. Normally, they return to baseline, back to normal afterwards.
Right.
But with chronic stress and high allostatic load, it's like you're constantly driving your car with the accelerator pressed way down, always running at high RPMs, never really letting off the gas.
Or constantly straining the engine.
Exactly. Over time, the engine parts, your biological systems, start to wear out faster. You might not notice it day-to-day initially, but the cumulative effects build up. They show up as things like chronic fatigue, persistent low-level inflammation that contributes to heart disease or diabetes, memory problems, constant anxiety, maybe digestive issues, and yes, that stubborn belly fat we talked about earlier.
So that's the physical manifestation of the wear and tear.
That's a big part of it. And being rewired for survival means your body is always sort of primed for an emergency. It's constantly diverting resources, energy, nutrients towards fight or flight readiness. Instead of investing those resources in long-term projects like building strong bones, repairing DNA effectively, maintaining a robust immune system for the long haul, or even cognitive flexibility.
So energy goes to immediate threat response, not long-term maintenance or growth.
Precisely. Your baseline, your everyday normal, becomes this state of constant low-grade emergency. You're surviving, yes, but you're certainly not thriving.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you listening right now? It means stress isn't just some fleeting feeling or a mental hurdle. It's a profound, systemic, physically transformative shift happening inside you. Understanding this. It's not about inducing fear. It's about empowerment. It's about recognizing that managing stress effectively isn't just a nice-to-have, not a luxury wellness trend. It's actually a biological imperative. It's essential for maintaining the very architecture of your physical and mental health.
Well said. It's foundational.
All right, let's quickly recap what we've uncovered in this deep dive into these hidden architects of stress. First, chronic stress literally changes how and where your body stores fat, especially targeting your belly, and it actively breaks down your crucial muscle tissue.
Second, it throws your gut microbiome into chaos, leading to inflammation, leaky gut, and those widespread digestive issues, which then impacts the whole body.
And third, it directly alters your brain chemistry, messing with serotonin, dopamine, GABA, affecting your mood, your motivation, and your ability to focus clearly.
And crucially, we learned about that HPA axis dysfunction and the concept of allostatic load. This reveals how stress creates a devastating self-perpetuating loop, one that can fundamentally rewire your systems away from thriving, basically leaving your body stuck in a constant state of emergency.
So the next time you feel that familiar knot of stress, maybe that racing heart or that brain fog setting in, just pause and consider this. What subtle yet profound changes might your body be making right now, deep beneath the surface, preparing you for a threat that maybe might never actually arrive? This deep dive has definitely shown us the incredible and often frightening power of our internal stress response. But the big question then becomes, is there a way to not just manage this, but maybe to actually reverse some of these deeply ingrained effects? Can we genuinely unrewire ourselves for thriving instead of just survival?
That's the critical next step, isn't it?
Exactly. So join us in our next deep dive. We'll be exploring surprising, evidence-based strategies and some cutting-edge research on how to mitigate and perhaps even reverse the impact of chronic stress. We'll look at actively rebuilding our bodies and minds for resilience, for genuine well-being. You really won't want to miss how some potentially simple, intentional changes can have profound biological effects. So make sure you hit subscribe wherever you listen to the deep dive and get ready for our next crucial exploration into the fascinating world of what makes us tick.